Welcome to STH English. The threat season has begun again. The Indians launched a dozen threats towards Pakistan. Pakistan has already responded. A press release from DGISPR's office states the counter-threat scenario very clearly. It calls what the Indians have been saying via their defense minister, their army chief and their air chief about erasing Pakistan from the map of the earth has been responded to in kind. In fact, with an additional punch added to it. What the press release says is that these statements are delusional. They live in fool's paradise, these people who are making these threats. And Pakistan is going to take the battle to the heartland and every nook and cranny of India. And this time around, do not expect us to show the kind of restraint that we exhibited the last time round. And as far as the threat of erasing Pakistan from the map of the earth, the press release says that this situation will be for both the countries, which essentially refers to the nuclear doctrine of mad, mutually assured destruction. At the same time, inside Pakistan, there have been experts warning of the Indian design to launch missile strikes. You have the ex-National Security Advisor, General Jingoism, once commanded forces in Swat and has been associated very closely with Pakistan's decision-making bodies, primarily those dealing with the military strategy. He has been talking about the possibility of another Indian strike. Pakistan's defense minister has also spoken about the possibility of Indians launching another adventure. One of the leading figures of Pakistan Muslim League, a former minister from Punjab, Saad Rafiq, has talked about the possibility and said that this time round, if this were to happen, our score will be better than the last time round. So you could see that there is an escalation that is taking place between India and Pakistan. Most of the analysts are linking it to the Bihar elections, which are very, very important for Modi government, and this rhetoric of attacking Pakistan and taking it out in one go and in one move essentially is caused by inner political dynamics. However, there are other factors at work as well. Those who deeply analyze the situation tell us, and I tend to subscribe to this point of view, that India seems to be on the margins of global politics at this point in time. India is nowhere to be seen as far as Ukraine-Russian issue is concerned, though whenever it is seen as part of the problem, which is buying Russian oil and feeding the Russian war machine inside Europe. It is nowhere to be seen as far as Afghanistan is concerned, except for the fact that it is promoting the kind of terror that the whole world condemns now. Other than that, you see this dialogue take place in Moscow involving Pakistan, Iran, China, and Russia, talking about what's happening inside Afghanistan. India is excluded from that formal dialogue. India is also nowhere to be seen as far as Middle East is concerned. There's a big ticket developments taking place, and Pakistan does get mentioned. Muslim countries do get mentioned. Israel gets mentioned, but India is nowhere to be seen. So in a way, Indians feel marginalized. So what is the best way to make yourself, be felt at the global level and assert yourself and say that we exist? Well, talk about taking out a nuclear-armed neighbor and mention that you are ready for another war. That actually brings some limelight onto you and gets you some kind of a resonance across the globe. So that resonance obviously comes at a cost, because when you say words like taking you out and changing your map and will teaching you a lesson that you will never forget and will change your history and all that, of course there will be a response to that. And when you get into this spiral of words being responded to and requiring more words to be spoken by you, which will naturally be responded to again. So this spiral is going to take you to a point where you will have to walk the talk. And that's where the danger lies, that you become a prisoner of your own rhetoric and you are not driven by your real threat perception, but by your own the power of your own lousy speech. That is driving you towards what? Something like this was mentioned long time ago. Let me bring another element of analysis to you. How dangerous it is that words like these are spoken as if they're talking about toys, as if they're talking about picnic, as if they're talking about distributing toffees in schools. How dangerous these become. Sting, very famous singer, wrote a song called Russians, 1985 it was released. And I was talking about this tendency in Europe and America to deal with the Russian threat, and it focuses essentially the attention on what the Russians have been saying and how the Americans have been responding to them. And the lines are, they fit like hand in glove as far as Pakistan-India situation is concerned. The lyrics read, in Europe and America, there's a growing feeling of hysteria, conditioned to respond to all the threats. And here it becomes relevant as far as the Indians are concerned. In the rhetorical speeches of the Soviets, so I would say in the rhetorical speeches of the Indians, Mr. Khrushchev replaced it with Mr. Modi, said, "We will bury you," something to that effect he said about Pakistan. I don't subscribe to this point of view. It would be such an ignorant thing to do if the Russians love their children too. How can I save my little boy from Oppenheimer's deadly toy, the scientist who was the lead person in terms of creating American atomic power? There's no monopoly on common sense on either side of the political fence. We share the same biology regardless of ideology. Believe me when I say to you, I hope the Russians love their children too. So, the Indians can actually listen to this song over and over again and just replace the word Russians with Indians and talk to themselves and understand the fact that this is not a game. This is not cricket. This is not a tournament. This is not javelin throw. This is none of that. This is very serious business. So when you speak like you have figured out the universe, you actually come across as very, very ignorant and dangerously ignorant. Dangerously ignorant because you are going to cause an ultimate holocaust across the border. And if you don't have to be a nuclear scientist to understand this, all you have to do is to look at the inventory of nuclear power that Pakistan has and see if the inventory of Indian power may be superior in certain cases in terms of numbers, but nuclear weapons beyond a certain point neutralize the issue of numbers. And make a comparison that do you really believe that you are going to survive the nuclear response that will come from Pakistan? I think the fact that I have to even talk about nuclear war itself tells you how dangerous the situation has become and how ignorant are those people who are constantly rattling the nuclear saber. So learn from history, learn from Sting, learn from ground reality, learn from data, and stop using war as your favorite tool of conversation. It is no fun. And if you must talk war, know the fact that this time around, it is going to be the kind of war that all of us don't want, nobody should want, and it should not take place anywhere in the world. But if it must come to that, it is going to be a terrible, terrible war. So yes, therefore, stop making threats, go back to the drawing board and talk about achieving goals through other means, diplomatic means, civilized engagement means, global forum means, third country diplomacy means, any other means except the war means, and certainly the nuclear war means.